No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense.
They say many garbage things.
You don't know what you're going to get.
Melodrama upon melodrama!
This is a total,
Shameful, disgraceful piece of nonsense!
He was miles off it yesterday.
You'll learn a lot more if you listen rather than talk all
Plenty
the
of
time.
time, no problem.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a No Nonsense podcast. We are back after a brief hiatus, 1 week off, just to kind of, refocus to set our eyes on the prize this year for the Premier League, and we are back with the traditional curtain raiser, the Charity Shield. What was it called something else before?
The Community Shield, it used to be. Or is it now? Did they swap it that way? Is it the Community Shield now?
Oh, I think, as I was saying, I was like, I feel old right now for some reason. I'm like, is there a new name? It's the Community Shield because charity, of course, starts at home. So we don't use it. I guess there was a charity one stage that probably got political and they just said, we'll just keep the money ourselves. We'll just keep the money for ourselves.
Look, we'll just make it easy. Look, if you don't have the word charity, you don't have to give it to charity, lads.
Yeah, the community could mean the footballing community or the billionaire community. Any community really. we are the footballing community. I don't know where the money goes, or if there's any money generated, and where maybe it's just business as usual. Maybe it's just like, I don't know. I really don't know. This is a bad start to the new season. This is very little insight. It's just me remembering things and not knowing what they mean.
Took a week off, came back, and immediately like, what is the Charity Shield? Is that a game or
what? Which community? The podcasting community? Because I haven't seen a nickel. I haven't seen a red cent. It was of course the champions Liverpool LFC versus the FA Cup champions Crystal Palace. Now, I watched this game. Well, I was excited first. Liverpool started off unbelievable. In my mind, anyways. Ekitike scores after like 4 minutes. They're getting the ball to him. He's flicking it off to runners.
Yeah, great.
The 20. Then Paz got a goal back, but it was kind of okay. Well, that's against run play. It was a penalty. It was a bit of a dive. It was maybe a bit sloppy, but first game of the season, you allow that. And then it was Frimpong down the right, the new right back. He gets a goal. It was a cross-come shot. He was obviously didn't mean it, but it's like, all right, like they're all over them. They have 4 new transfers, 4 new starters. They're like just clicking instantly. I was like, oh, the rest of the league is in trouble. This is going to be a disaster. Everything else, and I don't know. Maybe at that point it was like, all right, well, let's pace ourselves here. The City lost like 5 of these, and then they won the league every year they did it. I think last year was the first year they won it in like 4 years. And they didn't win the
lost
league.
Everything else. Yeah.
So there is a definitely element of pacing yourself. Like, don't blow your load in the charity/community shield. That's not the place to bring out the big guns. So I think it was 2-2. They took off Ekitike. Now, obviously, they still had Gakpo and Salah and all the rest of them. But I did kind of get the sense like, all right, they're not really. They don't really care about this when they'd rather everybody stay fit for at least the first game of the season. But fair play, Chris Paz. They could have also said, listen, we have a 12th place to claim. We can't go crazy with this Charity Shield. But they played very well. And famously now, because obviously this is the season of transfers and new faces, they have made none. And I don't think they've lost anybody yet. But there's kind of the sense of, well, we'll see if Gahey and Eze are still there by, is it game week 4 is when it closes?
Yeah,
Something disastrous for smaller clubs.
Yeah. The big teams get a few weeks to see, like, are you sure you don't want to take anyone else, lads? Yeah.
And then, of course, we went to penalties, and that's always fun. When you got no skin in the game, it's like, this is great. You can judge people at the band and go, that was a shy penalty. My God.
I have my doubts about Salah this year after that.
Yeah. It was also a kind of a little throwback for Henderson to the FA Cup final. He was giving it the big one. Did you see that?
I did. He's made for those scenarios. He loves that. I saw him even throughout the preseason. The Palace fans would be chanting at him and he would be behind his back, be like, lifting his hand, like, come on, say more about me, I love it.
Sing more about me, come on, we love this. He started his own chant in the goal. Yeah, when I saw him with the first one, I saw him putting the hat on, the logoless hat, which is very like, I'm not giving anybody any of this free Dean Henderson airtime. This valuable Henderson mug is not going to be sponsored anybody a bit of money for old Dino. And then when he saved that first penalty, he starts donning the hat to people. I was like, come on, man. Like, but you know what? It's the same thing. It's like, this is the only time you can do this, because you do this in an FA Cup final or like, a Champions League knockout game, and you start doing that, and then you go out, you become like, it's like, where people will turn you. They go, his head wasn't in it. He was worried about the crowd. He was worried about this and that. But like if they were to lose the Charity Shield, which obviously they didn't, people would go, it's a bit of fun. It's preseason, he's dead right. And of course, when they win, it's like, he's actually made for the big moment. He loves
He's
it.
actually insane. Yeah, he's a psychopath. He's a stone cold killer in the net.
And it's an early start to his campaign for the England number one, to be honest. I mean, that's World Cup this year. He's had the FA Cup, which was his final, as we remember. He's had this. He's like, this guy just has balls of steel. He doesn't give a shit. Which is kind of Pickford's thing as well. So if he has anything more than that, and he has the kind of I'm good at penalties, Pickford might find himself number 2.
I mean, yeah, and like it's funny because Pickford could have a great season, but things might go wrong at Everton and they could get relegated. And in that case, surely Tuchel is just going to be like, well, I'm not picking the relegated guy. You know what I mean? It's got nothing to do with Pickford. Pickford have a great season.
Yeah, look, I mean, Henderson, he's done everything right so far. One game down, it's on track.
Just keep your head, don't keep it up.
There's a lot of football to be played, a lot of, mistimed gloating to be done by Dean Henderson. So we'll see. But I mean, he's got to take these moments where he has, because the reality is there's not going to be many televised moments for Dean Henderson. So, which might help as well. If you're watching, Pickford throw it in, as people are like, is this the season Everton go down? Well, if Palace are like slowly working their way to 12th and no one sees it, it's like, I like Dean Henderson a bit more. I think he just has that something extra. It's all about kind of vibes of these things.
Oh yeah, big time.
So yeah, he had a great day. He had a great penalty shootout. Salah, as you mentioned there, Will, people were kind of commenting like, "Oh, contract signed. What's going on? Doesn't seem to bother anymore. Doesn't seem like he wants it anymore. Wants that pen to paper."
Yeah, but I did see, because I saw that, and like he did have a particularly poor game. I think he literally did nothing all game. Like I don't think he had a shot or obviously a chance created. Like I think he literally did nothing. But I did see that any of the other Charity Shields / Community Shields he's played in, he also has done pretty much nothing, which I think speaks more to the Charity Shield of that. Again, a player like Salah goes, I'm not going to ruin my season by running my arse off here and starting off the first day of the season wrecked, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, he had a few touches. He had less touches than everyone else, and everyone was going through his stats and like those graphs and stuff. And it's like, but you didn't need a graph. You could just look at the game and go, he's kind of standing out there, not really.
Look at this heat map. He's had a terrible game. It's like, I think that more means he's not trying. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't need to go to Opta for this one. I could just look and go, he is in a preseason game, very much in a preseason game. But look, this is, one man's lazy, the other man's clinical. He's very economical. He's not going to waste energy on a Crystal Palace game. I'd say you'll see this season. If they go up 2-0 under control, you might see Salah start to walk. He's like,
he's earned it. Look, you've got some new lads in now. Wirtz is there. Ekatika is there. He's a new contract. It's walking time if you're winning.
That's for them to do the running. Exactly. I got you the first 2 goals, and then he's going to look over at slot and go, anything else you need me to do before I head on, or do you want me to score a third? Do we need a third? But that's how you last into your 30s and you have this unbelievable output. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it if I was a Liverpool fan. I would say this is just going to be maybe even a more productive season, because he's have even more young lads running around doing the legwork for him, and he'll be in the right place, right time. But yeah, they did, like I said, look very good at the start. Ekitike looked very good. There was a great bit in the middle of the game. Well, middle of that first half, where it did look like this is going to be a blowout, where Al McCoist and Fletch start talking about Ekitike being a palindrome.
You know Liverpool are winning.
Yeah, I was like, okay, wow, this is early for it to be. It's not done yet, lads.
You've wasted that as well. First game with them. You got to save that till later in the season, lads. There's going to be some dull games coming up.
Yeah, Fletch obviously didn't want anybody else to steal that, because
the whistle blows. Ekitike is a palindrome, by the way, everyone.
And then Al McCoy said, palindrome itself isn't a palindrome, which I always found odd. It was like, this is going to be a long season. This is a good game. You need to give this game a bit of respect. There's going to be worse games than this, lads. If you're talking palindromes in the first Charity Shield game, this is going to be a long season for you boys. But there does seem to be a lot of excitement for the season in general, though, I feel.
More than the last few years. I think it's a nice combo of, not that it's more unpredictable, but it's like there's a lot of new faces coming in to lead the lines at these clubs. Like nearly everyone has a whole new attack. And then at the same time, Man City did not do particularly well last year. So it's not just coming into the season going, and of course Man City will win by 20 points and the usual players will score the usual amount of goals. It's a whole new world out there.
Well, that's it. Or the past 5 or 6 years, I guess, when City won. Yeah, it was it 5 of 6 that they won?
I think so, yeah.
And then last year, obviously, Liverpool won that one. So I guess now it's 5 and 7. But throughout those years, like the one where Arsenal surprised everyone and came second, that first year, like that was it was a lock for City. It was like maybe Liverpool could do it, and then it was like, whoa, Arsenal might win it. And the year after, it was like, yeah, probably City again. Maybe Arsenal can kick on. Maybe Liverpool, but they did fall away last year. Like there was no real kind of at the start of the season, there's no hope for any kind of challenge. It was like, if City have a terrible season, maybe that was the kind of asterisk we put on it. So you look at this season, it's like, well, Liverpool will do well with all the players they've signed. Chelsea look really good. City will be back. Arsenal now finally have the number 9 that everyone's been saying they need. So there's 4 fan bases who have a realistic hope of this could be our year again, which we haven't experienced. I don't know. And look, at the end of the day, it always comes down to 2 teams by February.
Yeah.
So it's never going to be a 4-horse race by May. Like in the last day of the season, 6 teams that can win. That's never going to happen. But at the start of the season, at least, there's okay, well maybe, and then all the other teams, the Man United of this world who obviously are going to win it, but new faces in for them. Dead wood out. Everyone loves getting rid of dead wood.
Yeah, it's the best thing. Yeah, it's very exciting when the people who you were clamoring for 2 seasons ago,
get them out.
Get them out. I'm bored of them.
Yeah, they're not good enough. They have to go, and then they go. That's honestly more exciting than getting new faces in. Like the when Aubameyang was finally gone.
Yeah.
It was like, thank fuck, because he did not want to play football anymore.
He was dragging the whole thing down. Everyone was not happy with him. Yeah.
And everyone could see that from the outside, but he somehow managed to go to Chelsea and Barcelona after that. I was like, why are you signing him? He doesn't want to do this anymore. He's made the money.
Have you not been watching, lads?
Yeah. Did you see the documentary? So yeah, it's a great feeling, because it's that feeling of okay, right, now we can now we got all rid of those bad eggs. It's a fresh batch of eggs, and this could really be our year.
These are the eggs.
These are the eggs you want in the basket, lads. This is the basket. These are the eggs, and this is going to be the year we make a really nice cake. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could go through our kind of season predictions. We kind of did transfer episode 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and there's been a few more since that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll kind of just combine them all together. I guess we start with who's going to win the league. Well, I guess that's probably the main prediction. And as I said, it's not straightforward as it was for the last few years. So this is really going to test us as podcasters and pundits.
It was so easy for the last few years. We got everything right, because it's like, City probably. We've done it again.
There was a year where I actually patted myself on the back for saying City were going to win the league, which back then it wasn't as a foregone conclusion, but looking back now, I'm like, that was obvious. Everyone could have said that.
They were cheating.
I think Lance Armstrong's going to win the Tour de France this year. I just have a feeling. I just think he's going to do it again. Yeah, Liverpool the champs, and maybe you've seen this, Will. You're probably more in these forums than I am, but maybe for the neutral, they mightn't realise this is the perch year for Liverpool.
Yes, big time. Yeah, this is the one.
This is the big one. I mean, the one before was like monkey off the back. Having won a Premier League, which is the rebrand, which is just funny to say, because it's intentionally like ignorant and it's funny. You have one league in colour, that kind of stuff, which again, they had colour in 1989, but again, it's willful ignorance, it's funny. And of course, the famous Alex Ferguson line I'm referring to was, correct me if I'm wrong, Will, I think he said either his greatest achievement or his most favourite thing he achieved at Man United was knocking Liverpool off their fucking perch.
Yes, I believe that.
I may be paraphrasing, but it was something like that anyways.
It was something along the lines of, I knocked those big thick off that perch.
And that was when they got to 19 leagues. Liverpool, of course, were on 18. They won in 2020, which made 19. So I guess it's not the perch year. This is just you're on the perch with them, I guess. Is this?
Well, no, this is the perch year because last year they won 20 to match Man United's 20.
Was it? Sorry.
20 times, yes.
Okay.
So this will be 21 if they do it, which then really you can't be like, yeah, but like there's nothing.
Well, that's the turning point where Man United become Liverpool. Unfortunately, that is almost the full. Well, I guess officially will be the 30 years. That's the only thing you have left. Well, at least we didn't go 30 years. We only went, what's it been? 10?
12, 13?
12. They got a bit of room for that. They're getting up there. But yeah, once they have less leagues than Liverpool, then all you have left is the 30 years. Which I wouldn't rule it out, Will. Sorry, I'm not trying to be mean, but I wouldn't rule it out.
A few years ago I go, what? No, yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that.
So yeah, this is a big one for Liverpool. So they do have motivation, as I guess the players always have motivation. But the fans would love this one to be like, because if you won last year, that was the first one that they could celebrate because of the COVID one. Then this one, a back to back, and you knock United back off the perch. I mean, that would be just huge for them. A lot of new faces in Liverpool as well, so they have nothing to. They have something to prove, I guess. They haven't won any of the leagues with Klopp. They haven't won the Champions League with Klopp. The likes of the Leverkusen boys obviously won the league in Germany, but it's a whole new challenge for them, is what I'm saying. So yeah, they will be motivated. They look very good. I was kind of holding out the hope that a lot of new players in, it might be hard to bed them in.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. And then, like you said, 5 minutes into the Charity Shield, it's like, Ekitike is a star.
It's funny because Ekitike looks a lot like Isak. It's like, that would have been a perfect replacement for Newcastle.
They blew that, didn't they?
Well, I guess it's that kind of your balance, we'll get the replacement in before we sell the guy we have. That way we won't get charged too much. But then they kind of, maybe we'll keep Isak. And I mean, looking at that game now, if you're Isak, you're thinking, so where am I going to fit in?
Yeah, I mean, you must be hoping that, because obviously the talk is still that it's like 122 upwards £1 million deal, which if you're Isak, you're probably hoping, well, if they pay that, they have to play me, surely.
Yeah, well, this is it for Isak. I think he was probably hoping that this deal would be done before anybody saw Ekitike play. Because you look at it now, it's well, you don't need both, really.
Yeah. You're being greedy, yeah.
Well, it's will it work even? Because obviously Salah's not going to track back.
He's done with that.
He's done with that, and like I say, he's earned it. But are you going to play Isak on the side where Gakpo plays, and then now you're a winger? Yeah, no,
you're wasting him then. He is the guy up front, yeah.
Ekitike might press a bit, but you don't want him tracking back either. You want him scoring goals. So if you have three lads up front who don't track back, you become, 2021 PSG, which was a disaster. So I think if you're Liverpool and you're looking at that going, yeah, Isak would be nice to have, but for 122 million, and it mightn't even work. Yeah. I don't know. I don't see how it's going to happen for Isak, but yeah. There's not been any update on it since, has there?
Well, I don't think Eddie Howe is allowing him back into the Newcastle team, any training or anything like that. So, which also means he's missed the whole preseason now. I did see an article, I put it into the chat. I'm assuming it was some Newcastle writer who put it up, but the headline was Isak has betrayed all who hold dear to him at Newcastle.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this is the thing. This is if you want to force someone's hand, you really have to make a scene, and he's done that bit.
He made a scene, but like we said, we talked about this a few weeks ago. He left it 2 weeks too late. He should have been making a scene from June 1st. It's scene time. I have to get the fuck out of here. But he waited until they got Ekatike, and then he went, what about me? It's like, well, now we're all in trouble.
Well, I guess ideally don't burn every bridge across, you know. He's like, hopefully this happens amicably and I just get to go. I don't want to make a scene. I'd rather they just, like, they ring me and go, listen, I've got, the next voice you're going to hear is Arnie Sloss. You know, that's what he wanted to do. But it got to the point where, like, okay, right, I don't fucking want to play Newcastle anymore. But look, well, this is the thing. Who was it? Watkins. You know, he was like, Arsenal really wants him last summer, and whatever the hold-up was, maybe Watkins didn't force him. He was like, no, I don't need to force a move. Like, you know, if they want me now, they want me next summer. You know, and then January came, they wanted him. And now Watkins is probably going to finish at Aston Villa. Like, everyone else is, like, Chelsea bought a striker, Liverpool bought a striker. Like, that, like the move can kind of evaporate. Now, he's a bit older than Isak, but, you know what I mean? I guess you can, if someone gets your hand, go, listen, man, it's now or never. It's like, what? Who said that?
Who said that?
You know, if that gets in his head, like it's this summer or like chance is gone. You know, they're going to buy something else, and you're 25, you're not that young. You know,
World Cup year,
is bollocks. But World Cup year, you could get injured, you could die. You know,
he's actually agent is very intense.
Well, like not to just make up stuff, but which we are. But like agents obviously do like moves because they get, you know, a good percentage of that move.
The whole point. That's their entire job. Yeah.
So it's not beyond the realms of possibility that someone's in his ear saying, "I think you need to make a scene. I think you need to force this move.
Do it." Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we got sidetracked there a little bit. But that's what Liverpool are looking at having Isak on the bench for Ekatike and then just like chopping change and having a really good team. I mean, yeah, I guess they are favourites. I'm pretty sure the bookies' favourites. I guess it's quickly becoming the slot team with the new signings. You know, last year was kind of Klopp's team, no signings. This is what I wanted to do. But now he's bought 4 new players, like I say, 4 new starters. Yeah, I mean, I think I would back them if I was backing somebody to finish first this year, go back to back.
I think so as well. I think their team is just like their team was already so good. Obviously, they lost Trent. But like Trent was amazing at stuff he was amazing at, but he was also a liability in other departments where it's like when you lose a player like that, they probably are like, we'll be fine. Like we are losing the liability parts as well. So I think they have improved the squad loads. I mean, Vert's coming in looks sick. Ekatike is great. Frimpong is quick on the wing. What else do you need? Like they just look great. And then if they get Isak in, then it's stupid squad depth, like which we've seen over the last few years really. A lot of times that's what it comes down to. It's like you had a lot of injuries, but you had 6 more guys ready to go, and that's what won you the league. Yeah.
No, I mean, honestly, I wasn't blown away by Wirtz. I didn't think he was amazing. No, I could be wrong. He had a great season. And Frimpong, you know what? I think he's very attacking. But he does kind of give me the Kyle Walker vibe where it's like he's so fast that like if he does make a mistake, if he does get a bit too forward, he can recover. He can recover fast. Like Trent, whether it was like a physical ability to get back or just a lack of willingness to get back, he used to seem a bit kind of lethargic on the way back. You know, it was like, oh, fuck, I got to go back and defend. You know, whereas Frimpong's like, again, he has all to prove. He's not this, you know, generational talent or anything. He's a very good player from a very good side, but he hasn't won the Champions League. He hasn't won the league with Liverpool. He hasn't proved himself to this fan base. So I think he might get forward, but he'll get back and he'll be very good. But yeah, I guess the midfield is maybe the only thing because people started to turn on Szoboszlai last year, being like, you know, is he any good or is he just handsome? You know, there's a bit of that going around. Curtis Jones always seems to be a little bit underrated. You know, this could be the breakout season for him. And you got Wirtz in the middle. So maybe the midfield isn't the best, but yeah, I think they do look solid and they won the league last year, so you got to give them a bit of respect, I think.
And I think, so we're both saying they'll probably win the league. Would you like to hear who the people, the audience, think will win the league? We took to our Instagram to ask some questions. And one of the questions we asked was, who's going to win the league? So I'll read them out. didn't do a poll for this. I don't know why I didn't, so I'm just going to read out
Yeah,
what people are
I was going to say you could give me a percentage if you want, but you can read out every response either.
I'll just read them out.
A bit of homework for the audience. Make the percentage yourself
Add
here.
them up.
Just get your pen and papers out now and listen to all these responses.
Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Liverpool, Man City, City, Liverpool, Liverpool.
And it goes on and on and on. I'm sure with all the responses we got. Yeah. Thousands of responses. Can't read them all out. Yeah. So Liverpool, City, a few Arsenal, Delugianos like myself.
One Chelsea.
I mean, I think Liverpool will win it, but I mean, this is the thing. I do think there's a realistic chance for Chelsea or Arsenal, and I mean, for Arsenal, this is the season. This is the 5 years of building.
Yeah.
Which is objectively what everyone says they want. Everyone says like just get rid of the dead wood,
give them time,
play the young players, give them time. And this is literally what exactly they've done. They've bought better players than they've had. Some have worked out, some haven't. They've sold them on. They've become competitive in the Champions League to the point where they can attract someone like Gyökeres, which other teams wanted.
He only wanted Arsenal. Here we go.
Well, whatever, he only wanted Arsenal, but other teams wanted him, I guess. Like they signed some players like, kind of gems or castaways from Chelsea, a lot of them, which they also did this summer. But you know what I mean? This is the first time where it's like, okay, this is someone who's actually good in his prime. He's come to Arsenal. So this is like the next step of it. Like, okay, you're getting good players. And look, everyone's saying number nine. This is what you need. And I guess if it's not the final piece, then Arteta's been building the wrong puzzle for 5 years. So it does have okay, this could be the final bit, but also it's make or break. So it's like, if this isn't the thing that brings over the line, then they never will.
Yeah, because if it's not this, because like you said, that was the last thing they needed. Was if they had a number 9, then it's perfect. Then everything is together. But if it's not this, then you do have to start pulling apart things which you've already done. So it's like, okay, you don't know anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the people you got in to do the jobs weren't the right people then, were they? It looks like. So, and I do think it does hurt Arteta not to be like a fucking, like people are like, oh, trophies and this and one FA Cup, blah, blah. It does hurt him. I think that Glasner, Crystal Palace's manager, has won now the same amount. The same 2 trophies that Arteta did in 5 years in the span of a few months. He did the exact same thing as Arteta with obviously a much lesser squad, you would think, and definitely lower wages and all that crack.
The trophies is definitely one that people throw out there. But like I say, I do feel if you're coming from 8th, like this is, in 5 years to be like a realistic title contender. Not like, well, what about your club? But like we've seen this with United for years, where it's like maybe we'll just buy Ibrahimovic and that'll fix it. It's like, everyone says this is what you should just lower your expectations. I mean, there's that clip of Rio going around, be like, I think if we finish 9th, it's a good season. I'm not like the rest of them. I'm a realistic fan. And in the same breath, it's like people go, oh, Arsenal think they're so full of themselves. I think it's so great. They've won nothing. And then it's like, oh, what, you think Arteta's good? He hasn't won anything. So, well, which one is it? You can't be like these unrealistic fans, or they're like, oh, you're celebrating the manager. You think Arteta's great? He hasn't won anything. It's like it's. I think a lot of it is just trolling. A lot of it is just kind of stuff. If you objective analysis would say that, he's done pretty well, I think. And yeah, the best case scenario this year is that it all goes well, and this guy bangs in 25 goals. And that's the difference, and that's what they've been missing. But I guess everyone's looking at Darren Nunez as the example and going, well, look, the Portuguese league is, I don't know, what's below Farmers League? Whatever's below Farmers, that's what they are. That's kind of what people are implying. In that case, then we can never buy anybody from those leagues,
Exactly. I mean, and players have put, Bruno Fernandes came from the Portuguese league. He was banging them in the second he arrived. Do you know what I mean? Players can do it. But it's just, it's that thing of I think the big scary thing is this, Gyökeres has scored 50 goals last season. Because that is well, that's too many. What's going on there? Yeah,
I think it was a goal a game or something in the Portuguese league / cup / Champions League. Now, we've seen people score in the Champions League. It doesn't mean a lot. Darren Nunez scored 2 goals against Liverpool over 2 legs. And that's kind of why he was bought.
Yeah.
Gyökeres scored a goal against Man City in Champions League. People are like, well, there you go. Do you need any more than that? But like, yeah, like I say, I'm getting a bit riled up now. Will I'm fighting people that aren't even here. I'm giving the other side of the argument. That's never a good sign when you talk about the other side of the argument that isn't being offered. But I feel it's good to just litigate all this stuff. And
get all out of the way before the season starts.
Well, I think there is, like, for Arsenal fans, there's like a bit of anxiety, like I said, where it's like, fuck, if this doesn't work, we've got nothing. They're all going to pile on. But I think for everyone else, there is a bit of curiosity where it's like, they actually have done quite well. And if they were to pull off this year, then that would be pretty impressive. To come from 8th, as a manager who's never managed anywhere, to come in at a club that was 8th and then in 5 years get to the top. And like, not to get into like, instant gratification culture and all that stuff, but like 5 years isn't that long when you think about, come from where they were. And yeah, okay, in terms of anyone outside top 6 has spent so much money, but like that is what it takes. Like, there's not one team that's done that except for Leicester, which is like the ultimate underdog story, who hasn't spent crazy money. And like, look at Leicester now. And that's not a dig on Leicester. That's more of a commentary on the system itself, where it's like, to win it is one thing, but to sustain it, you need even more money. So, I mean, it's just, I think they could do it, but if they don't, it's going to be awful. It's
which isn't fair.
Yeah, I don't
but
know.
It's the way it is.
That is just the way that the position Arsenal find themselves in, where I don't want to say, this is an easy cop out to say that people are jealous of it, but I think people are. But look, everyone was surprised when they finished second 3 years ago. Everyone's like, "Whoa, they came from nowhere," and then you couldn't even really say. People were saying, "Oh, they bottled this," but most people were like, "Well, I mean, no one even expected this." The second year is like, all right, they're consistently good. Oh, we gotta tear this down. We can't let them get with this. And then it was like, what's Arteta won, by the way? This great manager, that nearly beat City. What's he won? Is there a trophy for nearly beating City? It all started then. I think people were a bit scared, a little bit scared about it. This year, I think there'll be less gloating, more relief. Like, okay, Arsenal can do it. Thank God. They're not gonna. If they finish 4th, people are very happy.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a chance. Honestly, they're all relying on Gyökeres scoring 25 plus goals. If he could do that, they have a chance. But they need him to do that because it's a very strong league this year.
Yes. And it's tough because, like, obviously that's what all of these strikers being brought in need to do. No chance they all do that.
Yeah.
One of them might. You know what I mean? That's the way it always goes. Like,
and honestly, it's the greatest golden boot race of all time, where there's like, one goal separating 4 men.
Gyökeres is on 41 now.
Keep one-upping each other, yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's Arsenal. I think they'll either do it or they'll crash and burn. But I think they can do it. I think there's a realistic chance they can do it. And then Chelsea feel like they're in the same boat with, they obviously spent a lot of money on players, and they've spent money on this transfer window as well. But the important one in my eyes is João Pedro, which, I mean, we've all seen videos of Jackson missing chance after chance. And he scored a few goals as well, which does indicate that a lot of chances are being created.
Yes.
At Chelsea. And if João Pedro is just like a quarter more clinical, you could see him scoring 20 goals a season. And like, I don't know how many goals he scored at Brighton, like at his total in a season, but they definitely didn't create as many chances for him as Chelsea did for Jackson. So I guess it's one of those kind of ipso facto, he will score 25 goals because, now maybe he doesn't make the same runs that Jackson does. We'll have to see, but it does kind of feel like, oh, this could be huge. I mean, he came on in that game in the Club World Cup and scored immediately, and people are like, oh no, they found him.
I knew he was good.
They found him. And I think this is what it speaks to the excitement around it for a lot of fans as well, because it's like Chelsea haven't seen a clinical striker since probably Diego Costa, I would say. Was that 10 years ago now? 14, 15? Like, oh no, this is 25, 26, so like 11 years ago, really. They've had good strikers who've scored a bit in between, but like the feeling of like, oh, this is our final piece. And Arsenal like, this is our final piece, and Liverpool like, we're gonna become dominant again. There's this kind of feeling of this is the new kind of era coming in, and it's gonna be our era. I think that's where all the excitement comes from. But yeah, I think it's top four does kind of feel very solid, where it's going to be Liverpool, Chelsea, City, and Arsenal
in
some kind of order.
Yeah, in any order, and any order makes total sense.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't. I guess for City, I was going to say it wouldn't be a disappointment for any of them, but at City, this does feel like it's a big year for them. They have to kind of stamp their authority. Like we're not finished, by the way. You know, we're even more back than ever. I think everyone's expecting a revenge season from City this year.
Yeah, but I think the trouble is, I don't know if you saw Rodri is out injured again for another month.
No.
Until I think it's like October he's back, or maybe before that. But it's not even that he's injured again he's missing another month. It's more like, oh, you can't rely on Rodri anymore. Like, you know what I mean? And I think them playing, they didn't go all the way in the Club World Cup, but they went some of the way in the Club World Cup in America in the heat. And I saw they played one preseason game, and that was it. Or maybe even they didn't play a preseason game. It was something along the lines of, obviously they didn't go on a tour after that they normally would. So they're coming into this season, I don't know, it's a strange way where it's like they had all their preseason nearly 2 months ago now, and then they're coming in cold into the Premier League, which is very strange. Yeah,
like you do see it after an international competition. The players that come back from that who don't do the preseason, well, if they're over like 25, they tend to have a slower start. Younger players seem to be all right with it, but I mean, yeah, likes of Rodri, maybe he's rushed himself back a bit. But they do have some young players now. They obviously, we've seen De Bruyne and Kyle Walker gone, which is kind of the last kind of spine of that 5 and 6 team. Obviously, David Silva left and company a few years ago, as did Aguero. That was kind of the main guys in that team. That, like, you know, like Mahrez, I suppose. Well, Sterling, another one. That whole team is gone. This feels like a second era of Pep at City. Again, the Storm players there who have so much to prove. Grealish obviously wasn't really part of it, but I mean, he's gone as well. So a big clear out for them. New players coming in. Rodri's huge though. If they don't have Rodri, and not because he's just so good.
Yeah,
you know, I might have to change my fancy team now, Will, because it's breaking news from the past. This changes a lot now if they don't have Rodri.
I like the idea of your fancy team. It's like you can't even save it. It's just 11 Man City players.
This changes things a little bit.
But they've got new players in. I mean, they have Sharky, they have Rinders, I think it's pronounced, in midfield. But this is a real test of ball knowledge and like actual ball knowledge. A lot of transfers into the Premier League this year who people haven't seen before and they're going to pretend that they've seen before. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, well, I think, there maybe that might be shifting a little bit. And this is actually a hot take I have, Will. Well, you know what? But yeah, it's kind of more of a hot take really rather than an absolute. But I feel like the last few years, and maybe it's TikTok or whatever, but the kind of like the aura type language and ball knowledge and stuff. I think we started to come up with a lot of this stuff to keep ourselves interested in it because we all knew City were going to win the league. So we started this kind of like infighting amongst other fans of other teams to try and like rattle them like, yeah, but have you seen the aura of our centre back? To like, what, that doesn't mean anything, you know, because no one could say, well, we're going to win the league because, well, City are going to win the league, so we can't use that. We had to come up like, oh man, your ball knowledge is terrible. It's like, why what? Yeah, you wouldn't get it, you know. I think all that stuff is going to disappear instantly as soon as the league's entertaining again. No one's going to talk like that anymore because, like, well, we're going to fucking win the league, so you can talk about all the aura you want, pal. I think that was a direct result, this kind of made up language that we did just to entertain ourselves.
Yeah, and I do, you know what else I think it is as well? I think, obviously, we've talked about it loads. Football Twitter was such a huge thing, but Twitter got so bad that I don't think most people even look at it anymore. So it's like, it's a whole world that you don't even see anymore. What's the last time you saw a Pogba profile picture guy's opinion?
Well, this is it, because no one's winning anything except for City of matter, you know? Like, if you're not winning the league, I always say this about, you know, when people start talking about how big their club is.
Yeah.
It's just, you haven't won the league in 5 years. That's any person who's calling their club big or my club's bigger than yours. It's like, when's the last time you won the league? Because if you had won it recently, you'd be talking about that. You would be talking about your reach in Asia.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Around the world, who's a bigger club? Arsenal or Newcastle. It's like, you haven't won the league in 100 years. So like, that's why you're talking about this shit, you know? So I think all that kind of the stuff around, the language around football is like, you're not. But I tell you, if you get to like November and there's still 4 teams with a realistic chance,
you're never going to hear Aura again.
No one's going to give a fuck. No, it's going to die in 2024. Thankfully. So yeah, I mean, I think City. Yeah, this is the revenge season. There's the second Pep era. A lot of players there with things to prove. And if they finish fourth, it's not good, Will. They can't be spending that kind of money and being City and being this, like, not to bring it back to Man United or whatever, but like rarely that they would lose a league to Arsenal and then follow it up with a 4th place finish. You know what I mean? Typically they come back and win it the next year. Like that's kind of what you have to do when you're the most dominant team. Like you can't let it slip anymore. It's like, yeah, we'll just go like 3 or 4 years out win the league. It's like, no, you can't. You can't do that. You got to come back stronger if you're City.
Yeah, it's just, it feels like, I don't know, like their magic is gone, or like the threat of them is gone. Even like you don't really, if you were to say like who's going to win the Golden Boot, lots of people probably wouldn't say Haaland. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like before, but like he's going to score 1,000 goals. That's what he does. But it's just like, I don't know, they really fell off such a cliff last year. Even though they came back towards the end of the season. I think they came 3rd in the end. I don't know. They don't have the scariness that they used to have.
Yeah. Although I'd say when they signed Kevin De Bruyne, I don't want to say anybody was shaking their boots. It's like the guy who failed at Chelsea, you know, and he's good at Wolfsburg, you know. Well, what's the conversion in goals there, you know? We saw him with the Europa League and he's very good. He is kind of replacement on that side for, I guess Phil Foden could play in that De Bruyne position either, but I mean, they is starting to take a little bit of shape because they got rid of, they got rid of Grealish, but that, you know, that's not really, he was never a starter. Savinho looks like he may be going to Tottenham, so I mean, that would have that space in for Foden. Foden had like just a massive drop. I was looking up his stats. It was the worst season he had at City since he was a teenager. And he's 25. So, I mean, the lowest production level in terms of goals and assists is what I mean. But again, you don't need the stats or heat maps to look at him last year and go, he's not playing well, you know. So you'd expect a big season from him. He may be on the left, Shirky behind Haaland, and then Marmoush is in there somewhere. You know, is Doku going to be a fixture? I mean, I don't know if Doku works, but still, I still have the scariness, Will. I still think they could do it. Obviously, Rodri going out, it does make it
again changes things.
A difference, but just with the drop off when they didn't have Rodri was just so steep. He was like, God, they don't have him again. I mean, it has to be just a psychological blow for all those lads.
Yeah, as like. It's weird because he was injured. He was gone basically all last season. Then not back for too long. I'm sure he played in the Club World Cup and then gone again. But I do wonder, like, is this something they had planned for that, like, just in case he gets injured again? Or is this a case where they're like, I can't believe it. What are the odds he got hurt again? We're in big trouble now. Yeah,
or were they rushing him back? You know, were they like, we need him, you know, and they brought him back too early. We'll never know. But yeah, I think that's the top 4 in whatever order you want to believe in, really, I think, for those clubs. It's like, and if you just say, I think Chelsea can win the league, you couldn't really laugh at them. You couldn't say, no chance. Because like City are still good, but maybe they've lost a bit of the edge. Liverpool, you know, they are good, but a lot of new signings. Arsenal, I'll have to see it to believe it, I think a lot of people. So, and then Chelsea, it's like, well, you know, you had the same players last year. You know, you had like Cole Palmer just stopped scoring goals, stopped playing well. So there's no outright favourite, which, like I say, it's great for the neutral, great for the entertainment value, or like it could be anybody. And it's funny because I saw the questions you put up in the poll there, Will, the kind of, you know, who's going to finish top 4? And then it was like, will Man United finish above
8th?
7th? And I was 8th. And it's funny because I was before you'd done that, I was going to bring it up because I saw TNT the exact same poll.
Really? I'm tuned in.
They had like Golden Boot, top 4. Will Man United finish above 7th? And I was like, no other team ever gets this treatment. Like when Arsenal were finishing 8th, no one's like, will they do it this year? Will they break in the top 6? It was like, they're just discarded. You know, Liverpool the same when they were finishing 7th. It's like, finished, Gerrard, fraud, done. You know, there was like, can they get back in? It's like, you know. It's insane the coverage they get. It's like England in the Eurovision.
Yeah.
Like every year, everyone gives them 0 points because they're one of the biggest contributors. It's like, well, obviously they're going to be in it because the money. They're the ones who are generating the money. So have another go, lads. Get up there, sing a shite song, and then try again next year. I'm sure I'll be back. Maybe next year will be our year.
And it's funny because when I was doing that in the poll, because I was like, will Man United finish? Well, 5th is too high. And it was like 6th probably too high. 10th, I feel like that's too low. People might be like, I think people that be saying yes to that would be like, yeah, they'll get relegated. It was like 8th probably is where they realistically will finish. So it's like, can they go higher? Can they go lower? I'll tell you in the poll also, 53% yes, 47% no. So split, basically. Which, again, it's crazy. It's not crazy. It's the truth. But it feels crazy that even though they've fallen away so far, again, all you see is Sesko. It's all like, here we go soon.
Yeah.
It may be Donnarumma now. It's like, no, like they really do. Just the ecosystem never falls away. And I did think it would. Like I thought this, like finishing solo last year, losing the Europa League final, where we said it's like that's it. No more talking about Man United, really. But no, they're back in a big way.
No, they're never going away because it's like I say, it's not been 30 years yet. It's been close. It's not even halfway 30 years. There's still a long.
It's just about halfway.
It's not even halfway to where Liverpool were, and there was still a lot of Liverpool fans around when we were growing up. Do you know what I mean? So like, there's a long way to go before they become irrelevant. There's a lot of Man United fans out there. They will be alive for a lot longer. They'll begrudgingly, reluctantly still watching. Like I'd say, most of the glory hunters, the bandwagoners, are long gone now.
No one under the age of 14, I'd assume.
But even the people who are our age and older who watch them because they're good and they don't watch it anymore, like, they're gone. So the people who are still watching are real fans.
It's flipped now, yeah.
Obviously, all the broadcasters have done numbers going, yeah, there's still a lot of them left. So we're going to still talk about possibly 8th place Man United this year because that's where our bread is buttered. But yeah, I mean, it's been a busy transfer window for them. And by the way, we are going to talk about them too because
mandated.
They are the main characters, so we have to talk about the main characters' story arc in this soap opera. So I mean, look, Sesko is one that was been linked for a long time. He's obviously still young, but I thought he was going to be one of those person we'd never seen in the Premier League because it was like multiple summers. It was like if he was good enough, he'd be here by now.
Yeah. Be very wary of him coming in. I know he's has a bit more experience than Højlund did when he came in, but I mean, like you said, he's young. Sometimes Bundesliga, the Premier League, does not transfer over. Sometimes it does. Like Marmoush, totally fine in the Premier League. It didn't stop him. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's as sure thing as, I mean, I think Mbeumo and Cunha, that makes all the sense in the world because it's like, well, if they don't work here, it's your problem. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, we know they can play against all these teams in the league. Whereas Sesko, it's like, hey, might not adapt. But I was thinking this today. I do, like, they've had a busy summer, but last year their problem was they couldn't score goals up front, the midfield was bad, and the goalie was bad. The defence was fine. But they've only solved one of those 3 huge glaring issues. So even if the front 3 score fucking 20 goals each, it doesn't matter if there's no midfield and the goalkeeper's throwing the ball in his net every game.
Yeah, that, I mean, I guess we're finished 17th last year, or no, 15th. 15th. So I'm thinking Tottenham. We'll get Tottenham later on. I guess we got up with them too. Some of those dark horses, which I'm not really sure what that means yet, but we'll get them. Man United. Look, it's like I'm saying. If you're asking a Man United fan now, you might get responses like, "Look, just build around Manu. You know, get rid of Deadwood, just buy better players." And yeah, you said so. If you thought that you could be competing for the league in 5 years, that would be good. They would say yes, Will.
They were kind of doing it without realising, like they had Ollie for a long time and they had some summers where they weren't really buying much. So they were kind of in the middle of it, but the fan base pretty largely rejected it. They were like, nope, I'm sick of this. this sucks. This is taking too long. I hate this. So it's like, they just didn't have the patience. Are they going to have the patience this time? I don't think so either. Because again, it's like, and there's so many calls for like, just spend 120 million on Baliba from Brighton, or like, just sell all those Deadwood lads, get Donnarumma in, give him 500 grand a week. So it's like, these are the issues though that caused us to get to this point. So I don't know. I do think it's just more of the same go forward, but slightly smarter transfers, but more of the same in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, they'd struggle to do worse than last season, I think. So if you like say if you do Rio's aim of 9th, that is a significantly better season, and yeah, again you'd probably need the eye test to see if there is actual improvement and cohesion on the pitch. But if they do finish higher, then it's like, well, look, it's working. Amarin, it's working, and that's all you really need to have a good season, to believe it's a good season, really, you know.
Yeah, and it's, like I said, it's kind of make or break for Arsenal. I think it's make or break for Amarim as well, because no European football. 1 game a week, that's it. Now, they're in an earlier round of the Carabao Cup because they finished so low, but that's different. But
wow, I didn't know it was a thing. That's amazing.
yeah, I think they're in the first round of the Carabao Cup, which I didn't know it existed. I thought you just go straight into fourth.
Of course. Why wouldn't they just start at 4? Well, we had a good joke with that last year, didn't we? DeathCon 4, something like that. We changed the rounds of DeathCons, I think, for whatever reason.
Yeah, that was good.
I have no idea what that was, though. Maybe
I think that was the FA Cup, maybe.
Yeah, we'll think about it. If anybody remembers that joke, email us in. Get in touch
Right
with the
in
show.
the comments. What did we say?
What was that joke that was so funny that I can't remember it?
But yeah, I mean, 1 game a week, all the rest of the time you think training, learning the system. There isn't really any more excuses. And it's like, can't say you didn't back them either. I think they've spent the most, the most gross, like, because they haven't sold anyone and they've spent like 250 million. I think they have technically spent the most this summer, which, I mean, obviously all the talk was that, like, we have to pay for Anthony still.
Oh yeah, there's no money left. Yeah, that was obviously,
that was a big lie.
Well, there was no money left for the kitchen staff or for the groundskeepers. That was a different pot. This is the players' pot, or maybe all the cuts. They all add up to, you know, it's like if people just stopped eating avocado toast. You know, they'd have multiple homes. It's the same. Jim Radcliffe used that same system.
He's definitely said that before. Also,
he definitely thinks that
100%. Yeah.
He definitely thinks that. He definitely thinks that people are a bit frivolous, and that's why they can't have the nice things that they want. And he's proved it at Man United by buying Benjamin Sesko. Yeah, again, I think for Sesko, it's not that he's not a good player or he can't be a success, but it's just the pressure, the expectation is Wayne Rooney, 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 2011, 2012, I think it was his best. Like, they won 27 goals in the league, and, you know, we'll talk about the cups when we get there. But, like, this is Manchester United here, you know, that kind of like.
That means less and less every year.
It means a lot to some people, will, and the other people who'll be the loudest, you know. So for Cunha, for Mbueno, it's like 15 goals, 15 assists. That would do nicely.
Yeah,
you know?
That'd be great, lads. Minimum.
Like, and you might think I'm being hyperbolic, but I mean, the abuse that Bruno has got over the last few years would just prove that. Like, you know, these guys have to have it all to prove in one season, and there's very little patience. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's. I think 8th would be a great season for them.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, because obviously I think that top 4 is pretty solid. Tottenham are a better team. Like, but every time they play them, they beat them. It's just over 38 game season, they tend to just be shit. But
they did have a manager who, as he said, was like, couldn't be arsed.
I wasn't trying for the league, you idiots. It was all part of my plan. Aston Villa equally are better than them, but I do kind of feel they're on the edge of like, oh, this could all go wrong.
Yeah, it's a tightrope. And I mean, again, every time they get European football, it feels like, phew, we got European football. How are we going to manage all these games?
Every time you see those spending stats, like, wow, they are right to the limit. They are right there. But again, like logically, and football isn't logical sometimes, but Tottenham and Aston Villa should finish ahead of them. So that would put them in 6th, in 7th, I should say. You know, if that was to happen. And then I think there's the Brightons of this world that could finish anywhere from, you know, just outside Champions League to just above relegation. And I think there's a few of them this year. I think Bournemouth have lost a couple of players, but, you know, they were quite good. What's going to happen to Nottingham Forest? Don't know. They've been promoted to the Europa League because of Crystal Palace's demotion to the Europa Conference League. So that is going to be harder for them. They'll probably be into the quarterfinals and feel like they can win it.
Yeah.
And then that's going to be like, oh shit, do we go for this, or do we finish, you know, in the top 4? Oh, are we close top 4? That's always going to be tough for any team. So yeah, I think there's a few, the Evertons, Crystal Palace, again, you assume, 12th, obviously they want to finish 12th, but you saw them last night, they do look quite good. If they were to keep on to the likes of Eze and Wharton and Gay, they are better than Man United on
100%.
paper.
This is legitimate. I was thinking this the other day. This is the best Crystal Palace I've ever seen in my life. And again, they finished 12th. But it's just like, you just, again, watch them. They're class.
They are good and they're very settled, and Glasner is a really good manager. So again, over the 30-game season, there's a lot of unknowables. Someone's going to get injured. There's going to be some heinous VAR decisions. We know that. You know, so
Get that out, just accept that now.
So you think, Man United could finish above those teams, bar maybe the top 5 or 6. So then you're like, best case scenario, you're looking at maybe 6th, 7th, realistically probably 7th. But then if there's a Brighton or Everton or one of those teams has a good season, then you're down to 8th, down to 9th. You know, it's conceivable that they could finish, in worst case scenario, even playing well. I think there's better teams than them.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like you're looking at between 10th and 7th, which is like tough for fans to on the outset of the season. Like that's what we have to aim for.
I mean, if they get like 20 more points this season, I'd say they'd probably be finished 6th. Do you know how much points 20 points is? You know how hard that is to get compared to last season? Like, to get those amount of wins, like they need to basically be twice as good as they were, and then it's like, like you're now the second worst you've ever been in the league.
So I think it's going to be a very strong league. And listen, if Liverpool win this league, last year's all weak league, that'll all be put to bed. Not that that's going to last throughout the years. You know, people are going to, I remember that league. That was a pretty weak league if I remember correctly. You know, no one's going to remember that.
2024. I believe Man City weren't very good.
I believe everyone else bottled it and you just walked in. I think that's what happened there. But like, if they were to win it this year, in the immediate kind of, you know, club rivalries, you couldn't really say, so what was the excuse this year, you know? Because I think it is going to be quite strong. So, I think Man United, we all love them. You know, we're all wishing that they do well and they come back to top.
we're all rooting for you.
Everyone's rooting for Man United. You know, no one is enjoying this awful fall of a great club. But I don't think this is the year that they reclaim the throne, Will.
No, I don't think so.
What other questions? Like, we've kind of digressed there. We had a nice little structure there. I've kind of digressed there with a few rants. That's my bad.
Some other questions we had were, first manager sacked. I'm seeing a lot of Keith Andrews.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think people are fearing for Brentford this year.
Yes, I mean, they've sold their best player, they've sold their captain. It looks like their other best players on the way out, and then, like I said, they've replaced their great manager with their set piece coach, who, I don't know if you knew this, they did not score a single set piece under last season.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good. I know they're doing a documentary.
That's literally his whole job.
Yeah, well, how much have they conceded from set pieces? That's also his job.
That's true, actually. Yeah, that is true.
Know? Yeah. Just, we want to like pile on Keith Andrews before they've kicked the ball. We'll do it later on after game week 1. But right now, we got to support our boy. I mean, also their goalkeeper, another Irishman, Queven Keller, is supposedly injured. So that's not good. You know, big new signing injured before the game starts. Not ideal. So yeah, I think that's the logical one to fear for. For Brentford, I guess we haven't seen them as a sacking club because we've only seen them in the Premier League with Thomas Frank. So, but they are stats people, aren't they? They're numbers guys.
They are numbers guys. That's where they get the Mbeumus and the Wisses and the Thomas Frank, I'm sure. They're computer guys, number guys, geeks.
So if I had the hunch wheel, I'd say they're already running the numbers on the managers from previously. Like, look, they gave it to Keith Andrews because he's a good guy, he knows the club, all that kind of stuff. But if they haven't already, and once the season starts, I think they're going to be analysing other managers' performance just in case. Because I don't think they're going to sack him with no replacement. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But I think they will have someone lined up if they do. This is a huge leap of faith for them to just go with their gut, ignore the numbers, and just say, fuck it, just give it to Keith Andrews,
I've got a feeling.
I got a feeling this guy's, let's just leave the calculators down for one meeting and let's just say, I like Keith Andrews. He's good people. Let's give him the job. I honestly, this is a tough one because it does depend on how the season starts, if a team goes 6 games out of win, that can be enough. I'm all right, we stop the rot,
Yeah.
Typically it's teams that come up or teams that are fearing relegation, like the Brentfords. I think Wolves, people are thinking, ooh, they've lost a couple players now consecutively. Who are they going to replace them with? So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I don't want to give to Keith Andrews, but I can't think of a single other manager that maybe Amarin. Maybe if it's just it's straight away, it's oh, this isn't working again.
They play Arsenal week 1. Maybe if they get hammered 8-0, they go, okay, this was a bad idea. Let's scrap the whole thing.
No, I think if they could lose a couple of games, it's when he starts playing Sesko as a wing back. It's all right, this guy's fucking done. Get him out of here. Fuck this.
We were so wrong. That'd be a very funny twist if it turned out that Amarin was just crazy.
That crazy, handsome bastard. We all got hypnotized by his beautiful hair and eyes. Yeah. What was the other question? What, Player of the Year? Sorry, Player of the Year. PFA Player of the Year. As voted by the players, co-signed by us, the podcasters. Who do I think is a Player of the Year? Yeah, I think it's usually goal scorer, to be fair. So I think they'll probably go with the Golden Boot this year. Who won last year? Was it Salah?
Yeah, surely Salah. It'd be mental if he didn't, right?
But this is what I mean. It's top goal scorer must be best player of the year. That's obviously how it works. Yeah, I think whoever the top goal scorer is, I'm gonna do a Brentford. I'm gonna ignore the numbers, go with my gut. I think it's gonna be Gyökeres. I think if he comes in and if he scores the most goals and he gets Arsenal to the title, how can you not give him player of the year? So will that happen? Yes, it will. Yeah, fuck it. Gyökeres is going to be player of the year and Golden Boot winner.
Big season for him.
It's going to be a big one, yeah. He's going to prove all the doubters wrong. Yeah. So who's your player of the year?
I don't know really, because I one thing I do think is that I don't think Salah's going to have the season he did last year. Like we said, there's going to be other people scoring. He doesn't have to do much this year. And the contract, and he's older. All those things come together. So I don't think it's going to be him. I actually do think Haaland's coming back in a big way.
Oh, yeah?
My prediction. Yeah, I think he's going to be back to just every goal, just relentless, or every game, relentless. 30 goals, 31 goals, player of the year. And then, all he needs is a string of goals. City are going to start feeling it. The steamroller's back.
So he's going to be Golden Boot as well, you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's going to be back in a big way.
Yeah. No, I could do that. I might change my answer. I think Gyökeres will be player of the year and he'll score 26 goals. But Haaland, in vain, will score 3 or 4 more.
Yeah.
And there'll
Four
be
in one
a kind
game,
of
maybe, yeah.
And it'll be a really tedious conversation about player of the year. How can you not give it to the player of the year? He scored more goals, And then it's well, what's his goals mean to the team? Do they convert to one of those awful conversations?
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Was there kind of surprise? Who's your dark horse?
My dark horse. I don't know. I think it's tougher than it's been in the last few years. Obviously, no one's expected Forest to do so well last year. But I mean, you always think like, Brighton or Bournemouth or Newcastle do pretty well. But it feels like this year, like I said, Bournemouth have sold their entire back line. That did well from last year. Newcastle seem like they're in. Again, the vibes are just way off at Newcastle this summer.
The vibe meter is going crazy at Newcastle. It's way off in the wrong direction in terms of vibes.
I mean, like, I'm pretty sure it came out that Sesko went to United for less wages and a lower transfer offer than what Newcastle offered, which tough to come back from that, I would say, as a club. That's probably like, that's crushing. I mean, you'd think you do everything right and then that happens.
Well, yeah, that really does tell you where they're at, like in terms of like the project, we'll say. It's like you're not...
They're in the Champions League,
No, but the whole kind of PR of the club, I guess, where it's like, we're a big club and we're a Champions League club. Players don't actually believe that it's sustainable, I guess. Because they got in it, 2 years ago and they're out. Now they're back in. If you're essentially going, well, next year we're going to be out. Like you're... And again, not to bring it back to Arsenal, but like that is the Arsenal building. It's like they were a couple of years in Champions. Remember, like when that first year in the Champions League, it's like this is the first time in ages they've been here. It's like it's like since 2017 or something. It's like, has it been that long? Holy shit! And then you 3 years consecutive, and people go, okay, they are a club that's going to be there for a while. So yeah, the whole Sesko thing, it's a tough one to swallow because if you're a Newcastle fan, you won the Carabao Cup thing. Yeah, we're fucking flying this. But when it comes to the actual players, go, I don't believe it yet. It's a real ego blow. It's like, fuck, I guess we're not seen as a big club yet,
Yeah, so that's why I think it's hard to pick a dark horse this year. I think Nottingham Forest will do well again. Or actually, no, do you know what? Scrap that. I think Crystal Palace they're breaking through. This is the year. 9th maybe, 8th maybe.
Whoa!
They're breaking free from the shackles of 12th, I think, this year.
Not Tottenham?
No, I don't think Tottenham are going to do particularly well.
Hot take. Tottenham to get relegated.
I don't think they get relegated. I think they'll be like a slight improvement on last year. But like, I don't know. I haven't been too impressed with their transfer business this year. The Morgan Gibbs White thing, I think, just totally derailed them. It seemed like there was 1 week where Kudos is in, great. Morgan Gibbs White is in, great. And it's like, actually, he's not. And I don't think they've done that since. And then they're linked with Savinho as well, who I don't think was ever too... I mean, like, he's great to watch, but it's not like he was banging in goals or racking up assists. So, I don't know. I wouldn't be too... I wouldn't be too impressed with their squad coming into this year. And again, not that they're bad or anything, and they're playing the Champions League, but I just think there's a million Tottenhams now. Like, I think Man United are a Tottenham now. I think Bournemouth are a Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? They've kind of slipped down into that pack, I think.
I think they're a lot better than Man United and Bournemouth, to be fair. The whole Ange thing was weird, where he...
Mental.
I mean, in hindsight, we can just all agree he was lying when he said he wasn't trying. I mean, that is what...
he lied about that, yeah. Why was he so angry if he wasn't trying?
Yeah, why didn't he have like a coy smile? It was like... Oh, we lost again, did we?
Remember, he was so depressed week to week, like he couldn't even look at the camera. Was he faking?
Is he one of the greatest actors of our time? Because I believed him. I believed every bit of it. So that whole thing was bad. Like I said, I think they're better than they were last year. They weren't, the 17th best team in the league last year. They were, on paper, they're better than that. Now they've lost Madsen, which is a big one. Kudos. It's. Yeah, but again, that's what Tottenham are. They're not going to sign players that City want and that Liverpool want. They're going to sign players that are below them in the league, but make them better. Frank's obviously very organised. It's a very different manager and all the rest of it. But yeah, I would put them probably around 5th or 6th, outside the top 4 definitely. But I think they have a better squad than the likes of the Bournemouths, the Brightons. I think Everton look good. I don't know if we mentioned it on the pod, but Jack Grealish, they're on loan. Very excited for that.
Either way it goes.
Almost as excited as I am for Dewsbury Hall, also on loan to Everton.
Huge, yeah.
That's
great business.
That's a better midfield than they had last year. Jack Grealish and Dewsbury Hall is pretty decent for Everton. I think they could be. They're the ones now where it's like they could be definitely on the bold relegation, or they could be up there pushing for 7th.
Yeah.
They have a few decent players. Jake O'Brien could be a huge year for him as well. Don't forget. New stadium. Don't know if that has any impact on
I forgot
it.
that, yeah.
But yeah, I think Everton could be a dark horse. But I think Tottenham are just good, and they're better than they were last year. I don't think you can really judge them on last year. I think that was just mad. That whole thing, bringing the Europa League into disrepute by them winning it. I mean, it was just a very strange situation. So yeah, I don't know. I think my team that might do better than you think is going to be Everton. I think Spurs will do as well as they should. I think they would have to have I think they're probably about the 6, 7, 8 mark. I think that's where they'll finish. I don't think they're as good as the top 4 teams at the moment, but I don't see them bottom half this year. I'd be very surprised to see them finish 17th again. That's
17 is definitely too low.
Yeah, but just I like in and around Wolves and Bournemouth. I'm like, what? I don't see it. I think they're probably in that top half European football, let's say. But the ones that you might expect to be relegated or not doing too well, I think it's Everton. I think they're going to be top half.
Well, we've given some of our bold predictions there. We asked ye, the listeners, what's your boldest prediction? I'll read a few of them out to you. Newcastle fans turn on Eddie Howe, which I actually could see also. Going totally against what you just said, Everton relegated on final day.
On final day? That's very specific, hot take.
This is a bold prediction because it's so specific. That is bold. Arsenal to finish outside the top 4.
That would be a hot take. I think they are definitely the 4th best team at least. So it would be a bad season for them to finish out of top 4, I think.
Speaking of bad seasons, Chelsea to scrape a top 10 finish.
That is bold.
That's bold. That's too bold. Naughty.
I know it's out there. Maybe, but I think we do fall in these traps a little bit sometimes. Us broadcasters.
Yeah, I mean, one team who you think is going to do well generally does do really badly. That happens nearly every season.
Yeah.
Oftentimes it is Chelsea.
Well, we all watched the play in the Club World Cup, and we've seen them sign good players. Think, well, this has never not worked. But of course it has many times not worked. But yeah, I'd just be shocked. I mean, I guess Maresca, people were kind of turned on him last year a little bit. So I mean, I don't think he's rock solid either. But yeah, I think maybe we are a little bit too high in Chelsea. But I think scraping a top 10 is really crazy.
So that is a particularly bold one. Here's one which I could see. I kind of said similar earlier. Salah to have his worst scoring season for Liverpool.
Yeah, I could see that, and I could still see Liverpool doing well.
Yes, exactly.
Which,
yeah.
they do have to let go of him eventually. He's 33 now.
I mean, the big contract was a just in case. What if he's still class next year? I mean, that is essentially what you do give him the contract for. It's not like as a thank you. It's you might score 30 goals again next season, but equally you might not. So it's the risk you take.
Well, it's he doesn't go anywhere else as well. So
yeah. And score those.
So if he scores those
15
goals in the opposition's net as well, I suppose there's a bit of that. I think there's a lot of it where it's like, even just we are a big club that we can keep players, that we don't lose players to Real Madrid. We can sign them all, we can keep them. Obviously, they did lose Trent Alexander-Arnold, but I think that was part of it too. Him going to Real Madrid was like, all right, we're not losing Van Dijk and Salah either. We're going to keep them on here, and but yeah, I could see that. I could see him scoring like 12 goals, but I don't think it would be the be all end all like would have been last year.
Another Everton fighting relegation shout. So 2 people going against you.
Oh, well, they can fuck off. No, I mean, I think that I think my take is a hot take because people expect that. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like they signed Jack Grealish in Dewsbury Hall. Like I'm kind of messing as well. I like those players, but they haven't signed Tony Kroos to this prime. I'm just saying they could have a decent season under Moyes as well. I think he's obviously
he's solid.
A solid manager. I think he could get them up to that mid-table spot, which I think most would expect them to be below that. And
the final one here, Spurs finish bottom half again.
Yeah, I think that is a hot take. I think last season was insanely bad for them. Just, again, given the players they had, it's not this kind of arrogance of like, oh, they're too good for this. It's like player for player. they shouldn't be down there.
Well, it does speak to what we think the season's going to be, where it's so unpredictable that really nothing is too hot to take. Because you could kind of say anything and it feels like you'd be like, yeah, I can see that. Because it's a season of total unknowns. I don't know who half these players are, Carl. I don't know about
Yeah.
you.
Well, I'm trying to pretend, but I'm not really sure.
Who the hell is Sesko, Carl?
So yeah, I mean, look, it's. I think a lot of people are excited for the season. I'm excited for it. There is a kind of a feeling of anything can happen, and as you said, it will. Where like we always have predictions, and there's one that's completely wrong. I'm excited to find out which one is completely wrong. Because right now, I really don't know. I'm not really kind of iffy. I feel kind of confident in everything I've said, but there will be something that I've said that will be way off. That's always the way. Like preseason predictions are kind of pointless in a way because like you've no idea what's going to happen. Like so many variables.
Always end up with clips from the preview episode at the end of the season where we go, listen to this.
Yeah, it's fun. So yeah, we'll be back next week with more. Well, I guess after the first week, the first week review of games, back into it. You can follow us on all the social media this year: Instagram, Facebook. Are we on X still?
We don't use X. We're on TikTok.
TikTok, yeah. Get in touch with all the socials. Anything you want to say, abuse, criticism, feedback, whatever you want to do, get in touch with us there. We also have bonus episodes weekly, which typically covers Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup first round for some people.
Yeah, exciting times. DEFCON 1.
DEFCON 1, Carabao Cup. We will do that on the Ultra channel. The bonus episode weekly that is available. The link in the description. Sign up for that. It's $4.50 a month. Like I say, you get a bonus episode every week.
I will say, I don't know if you saw the Premier League put out a statement this year. Not really a statement, but more a warning, I would say.
About us?
Because there's... No, not about us. About the fixtures. Because there's 8 or maybe even 9 teams playing in Europe this year from the Premier League.
Yeah.
Between the Conference League and Europa and Champions League. There is a high chance if those teams go into the knockout rounds that fixtures may change very quickly. So I'd say we're getting a lot of midweek games this year.
Well, there you go. Even more reason to sign up. Because that's, like if a game happens on a Tuesday or a Wednesday and we've done it on a Monday, like we're doing today, it's going to be a week after. We're not going to cover. There will be no point covering those games the next Monday because it'll be old news. Yeah. So we try and get a catch-all 2 points during the week, kind of the Monday and the Thursday, and it comes out Tuesday, Friday typically. That's kind of the schedule we're going to be working at. Until we get bought out by Joe.e, that is. That was one of the questions in the poll.
That was one of the questions. Let's check that before we go. I put in, is this the year we get bought out by Joe.e? And the people have said, 77% said, yes, it is, Carl.
There you go, folks. So get on board before Joe.e buys out.
Yeah.
You could say you were there before we sold out, which we will do at the first opportunity.
100%. The second. They're going to have to buy you out of all those Ultras contracts you're in, lads. Get in now.
That's right. That's how that works, exactly. Once you're in, they have to buy out your contracts.
That's how it works.
And there's no release clauses. So you'd be like, who's an example of that this summer? Isak,
Morgan
I guess.
Gibbs White.
You'd be like Morgan Gibbs White,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how exactly, but yeah, sign on. We'll get rich. You'll get rich.
Works out for everyone.
Yeah, you sell your shares and
Joe.e get really rich, I'd say.
The only losers is Joe.e. That's is it Bauer Media? They get rich too, but Joe.e loses because they have us on the podcast. So yeah, look, we'll see you next week, and get excited, everybody. Get excited!
Yeah, here we go.
The new era. This is the new Prime Barclays, or this is going to be Prime Chinese betting company. That's what this is. Starting next week. See you there.
Good luck.
No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense.
They say many garbage things.
You don't know what you're going to get.